Hello, I'm Dan from A3 Rentals and Sales, and today we're going to be taking a look at this 2022 Thor Tellaro 20LT. I'll be showing you everything on the outside and the inside, so you'll be all set and prepared when you decide to rent from us. We're going to start off on the driver's side here. So we have our TV cable inlet. We'll give you a TV cable, so you just want to plug this in at your campsite to get all the local channels through cable. If not, there's also an antenna inside, so you can find channels locally through the air instead. We have the inlet for our power cord. This RV takes 30 amp service, so once you plug in at your campsite, all the major electrical appliances will work. That'll be your TVs, your microwave, your AC unit, and your outlets. Down here we have our propane tank. It's going to be about 20 pounds or 5 gallons. You can leave it on since your fridge runs on it when you're not plugged in. It'll also be for your stove, your oven, and your water heater, and your furnace. If you do need to refill it, truck stations and campsites will do it for you, but it should last about upwards of a week or a week or so. Over here is where your sewer hose would be, but we'll give you a separate one for our rental. I'll show you how to dump out the tanks in just a second. Next to that, we have two inlets for the water. We have our city water inlet and we have our freshwater inlet. These are going to be used for different purposes, but they will use the same hose. The freshwater inlet will be to fill up the tank. So if you're on the road, you're not plugged in, and you want to use the kitchen or the bathroom, you'll take the water off of the tank, and this will be how you fill it up. That's opposed to the city water. You'll use this when you're at your campsite. You want to take the water from the campsite directly into the pipes and bypass your own freshwater tank. So you're going to take your hose and plug it in here instead. Over here is the exhaust for the furnace, so expect it to be hot and don't put your hand here. And we also have our tank flush valve. You won't have to worry about this. This is just for us. When you get back, it helps us clean out the tanks for the next customer. In the back here is your dumping station. So all I've done is taken the sewer hose that we'll give you, and I just clipped it onto the outlet here. Then you're going to take the side with the elbow and stick this in the ground at your campsite or wherever else you're dumping. From there, we have two color-coded valves. We have the black valve for the black tank. That's going to be for your toilet water. And we have the gray valve for the gray tank, which is going to be for your sink and your shower. Once it's pulled out, it's open, and when it's pushed in, it's closed. We recommend you open up the black one first, and then the gray one to kind of flush out the sewer hose. There are gauges inside that will show you how full or empty the tanks are, so once they're empty, you can just push them back in to close it, and you're good to go. Over here, once you open up the driver door, you can open up this panel, and you have your gasoline inlet. The gas tank is going to be about 24 gallons, and it just takes regular 87 gas. We're going to come around to the back of the RV here. This opens up to some storage area and a wet bath. This spiral hose here is sort of an outside shower, so if you want to wash off dirt or sand before you head inside, this would be how you use it. You can just turn on the water pump here, and it'll work. We also have a light here for the porch light on the passenger side. This here is the sewer hose I just showed you. And we'll also give you another bag with a few other things. This white hose here is going to be for your city water and freshwater inlets. This black wire here is your TV cable. And we'll also give you a 30 amp to 15 amp adapter for your power cord. We'll also store the power cord in the wet bath bottom here. Also over here we have some outlets, just some regular 15 amp wall outlets, and a cigarette lighter as well. You just want to make sure that you're plugged into shore power or the generator is running for these things to work. We also have a propane outlet here, which will connect to the propane tank on the RV. So if you have an external grill at your campsite, you can just hook it up in here. As far as the dimensions of this RV go, the length is about 21 feet, it's almost 8 feet wide, and we like to say the height is about 12.5 feet, although it is a little bit less than that. Just be careful of things like parking garages and drive-thrus, and just keep that 12.5 feet mark in mind. I just have to open up the sliding door here to get inside. As we enter here, we have a few things to know. We have our fire extinguisher here. We also have a smoke detector and a carbon monoxide and propane detector inside. We have paper that'll show the specs of the RV. You don't have to worry about the inverter or the control panel for the solar panels here. This dial is for the house battery, so you can switch it off and on here. It's a small battery that's underneath the chassis of the RV, and it's for very minor electrical things like the lights or the awning. So it'll be charged when you're plugged in at your campsite or when the engine is running, and it'll also be charged a little bit by the solar panels on the roof. Now the control panel for this RV would usually be here, but we've temporarily moved it to here, but it's exactly the same. So this small tablet will have everything you need to know. I'll start off with the levels here. So you can see the levels of the freshwater tank the gray water tank, and the black water tank. If you're going to a place where it's below freezing, you just want to press the tank heaters. It'll use a bit of the electricity or the propane to heat up the tank so they don't freeze over. If you want to take water from your own water tank, you just want to turn on the water pump like that. We just like to have it off when you're driving, just in case, for example, you hit a bump, you don't want your faucet opening up. We have the AC unit here, which will turn on once I turn on the generator in just a second. Here we can control all of the lights. This will be both the voltage for the batteries and how full the propane tank is, but you can also turn on the generator here. So if I hold this down, you can see it turns to starting, and then it'll take a few seconds to turn on the generator. You can see here, now it changed from starting to running, meaning the generator is now fully running. We also have the meter for the total number of hours the generator has been running ever since it was manufactured. So you can keep track of how many hours you're using here. So it's 97.7 hours right now. Once you turn on the generator, you're going to wait like maybe 30 seconds, and when the microwave beeps, that means that everything will be working. This icon here will be for the fans. There's one in the kitchen right above my head, and there's one in the bathroom in the back. Now onto the AC part. I just have to turn on this button, and it'll activate the AC. This will change if it's the AC or the furnace, and then this will change the speed of the fan. As we saw from the outside, the back here is our bathroom. So we have a bit of storage here. All of this is waterproof. So we have a cabinet, some drawers, and to my left here we have a toilet. You just want to push down on this pedal here just to flush it down. Just make sure the water pump is on or you're plugged into city water. We also have a sink here. And this faucet here is going to be for the shower. Toilet paper is RV specific, so you're going to have to go to Walmart and get RV Marine toilet paper, or campsites will also sell it for you. Around my head on both sides we have the main storage for this RV. You just want to lift these up. The bed on my right actually has some storage underneath. You can see we have poles and the tabletop, so we can have a table here, and we can also extend this into one big bed. So this is what our tables look like. And laying the tabletops across the middle here, we have our bed. I'll show you how to lift and lower the headrest here. It's just like a lawn chair. You just want to bring it up like this, and when you bring it all the way up to the top, it'll come down. You'll also note that we have two seat belts in the back here. To open the windows, you just want to squeeze this and pull out. And for the blinds, you just want to pull it down once, and then pull it down a second time to bring it back up. Right by my head here, we have our smoke detector, and down here below the bed, we have our carbon monoxide and propane detector. Behind this panel here, we have our circuit breaker and fuse box, and we'll give you some extra fuses in the front just in case anything happens. Over here is our kitchen area. We have a standard sink here, and this doubles as a cutting board. We have our stove next to that, which is going to run on propane. So you just want to set this to light and hit the burner. Once you're done, just wait a few minutes before we put the top back on. Below that here, we have our fridge. This is going to run on propane when you're not plugged in, and when you do plug in, it'll automatically switch over to electricity. So no matter what, your food is going to stay cold the entire time. And lastly, we have our microwave. We recommend you shouldn't run the microwave and the AC at the same time when you're on the generator. Otherwise, the generator might trip and you might have to go underneath the chassis and flip the breaker. We have a little charging station right here. We have extra counter space or cutting board here. And we have some more storage space down here. Next, I'll show you how to find channels on the TV. So once it's on, you just want to press input here. Make sure the source select is set to TV. From there, you're going to press this menu button here. You're going to go over to channel, and here we can switch between air, which is the antenna, or cable if you're plugged into that TV cable at a campsite. I'm going to go back to air, go down to auto scan, press yes, and it'll take about 5 minutes to find channels for you. Behind the passenger seat here, we have a little envelope that has a few things. We have our manual. We have some extra fuses for the fuse box, and we also have our registration here. In this overhead storage here, we have various privacy curtains for the windshield, the side windows and the windows in the back. With the passenger seat flipped around, there's actually a little table area in here. Here I'll show you all the different settings for the seats. So this bar here will bring it forward or backward. This lever here will bring it up or down this way. The one right behind that will flip it up or down like this. This style will turn the back seat up or down. And finally, this yellow lever right here will flip it around. The front display has a lot of different things. You have our radio, you can connect your phone with Bluetooth, and if you scroll down, we have our camera. So you can keep the rear view camera on when you're driving, or if you put it in reverse, it'll also pop up. This here is our parking brake. So this is to release it, and this is to engage it. Over here is how you're going to use your water heater. So you're just going to turn this dial to the right until this thermometer icon is flashing. You're going to press it. Right now it says the water heater is off, so you just want to turn it over to hot, press it again, and then it'll take about 15-20 minutes to heat up the water with the propane. If you want to turn it off, you're just going to turn the dial to the left twice, back to off, press it again, and you're done. And that's going to do it for our 2022 Thor Tellaro 20 LT. I'm Dan from A3 Rentals and Sales, and have a great trip.